suspect!
Coming to get you, Bobber.
Hi guys, my name's Barry and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at Jeepers Creepers Reborn from 2022. Now, I did follow the production of this film straight from the beginning right up until today, and I'll be honest, I was excited to see this movie, mainly because I enjoyed the first two Jeepers Creepers movies. The third one was a bad movie, but I still wanted to see more because I was still interested in the creeper. At the beginning of this movie, we've got Dee Wallace, who's a great horror icon. She and her husband are going about the highway and they see the creeper. Very, very similar to what happened at the beginning of Jeepers Creepers 1, only this was condensed into a couple of minutes. And the exact same thing, I said in my Jeepers Creepers 1 review that apparently Jeepers Creepers was based on the Unsolved Mysteries episode featuring the man and the woman, the husband and the wife that see someone putting a body wrapped in a sheet down a pipe or whatever. And that exact same thing happens in this one, only this time it's more accurate to the Unsolved Mysteries episode. And when I watched it, I was like, that's just like the Unsolved Mysteries episode again, only this time it's even more accurate. So I thought it was intentional. But then when we find out that the main character, the guy, was watching a YouTube episode of, was it Macabre Mysteries, then obviously it's just given as a tribute to what they also think where Jeepers Creepers got its inspiration from. I also assumed that what took place in this Macabre Mysteries episode was set in 1978 or around about the late 70s because it's supposed to be the creeper that's doing the killing. I know that in the Unsolved Mysteries or the Macabre Mysteries episode they think it might be a human that's done it, and this couple went missing in real life, but we find out later on in the movie that the couple didn't just go missing, it was the creeper that actually killed them. So I thought this was supposed to be 1978 because of the clothing that they were wearing, the car that they had, and they obviously didn't have a mobile phone on them, so it had to be set in the late 70s. Although something that confused me was when he was talking to his girlfriend about the video that he was watching, he said it must have been around 20 years ago. Is he saying the episode was about 20 years ago, which would maybe make sense, or the events of what happened take place 20 years ago, which wouldn't make sense because then that would have been 2001, because we're still going off of the every 23 years because he mentioned that he comes back for 23 days and he disappears for 23 years again. So the whole lore of the creeper is there. So I was kind of confused. I know it's just a little nitpick, but I was still kind of confused by the year it was supposed to have been set. They also confirmed that the Jeepers Creepers trilogy that we know as an audience is also a movie within this movie, or these are movies within this movie, because they do mention that the Macabre Mysteries spawned a couple of movies called Jeepers Creepers, or what she thought was called something else. So yes, these are movies within this movie. Something I've always been intrigued with but didn't want to see was how the creeper came out on day one of his feed, and we see that in this movie, and when I saw it I really didn't want to see what I saw. It also looked like a little kid with a big massive head. It looked like someone like my son was wearing a Trick or Treat Studios mask. That's how pathetic this looks. So I wish we didn't see that because it was terrible. Something that they also introduced into this out of the blue was the creeper was after this couple because the girl was pregnant. They never ever mentioned anything like that in the first trilogy, and I know this trilogy is just it's just movies within this movie, but they still kept the lore the same, only this time the creeper is after pregnant women. When we find out that he's after pregnant people, it kind of gets along the same lines of Michael Myers now, like the Halloween, the curse of Michael Myers with the whole Thorn cult. This one is very similar. They've got a cult around this area where the creeper comes out, and these people know about the creeper and they want to trap people so that the creeper can kill them and feed on them. Something that also doesn't make sense is these Jeepers Creepers movies, the first three that we saw, are supposed to be movies, of course, but we see a voodoo doll of what's supposed to be Dari, and there's a woman in this film who creates voodoo dolls and puts a curse on these people so that they can get killed by the creeper, and they're they're telling us, or it looks like they're trying to tell us, that the same thing happened to Dari back in 2001. So is Dari a character in a movie franchise, or is Dari an actual real person? Again, the script doesn't really make sense. The second half of the movie is set in this escape room, or it's supposed to be an escape room, a creeper themed escape room. But what the people don't know, the people that win the competition, is they're going to die because the people that own the place are the ones that want the creeper to kill these people. And I think this is where it gets even worse. The movie was already bad, but it gets even worse because we've got this terrible green screen that we see throughout the entire film, and it's prominent in most of the second half of the film. The green screen is so bad that my green screen that I sometimes use is 10 times better. There was a really hilarious part where one of the camera crew called Michael went missing. He was away looking for batteries or a plug to charge his batteries. So he goes into the cemetery, of course, because that's where you would normally go to try and recharge the batteries, and the creeper kills him. Now, just minutes before that, he's with one of his friends, or one of the people that's working with him, and they discover his body within minutes. And when he discovers his body, he looks at it and he says, "It's fresh." And you're like, no shit, it's fresh, because you were with him a couple of minutes ago. That's what we're dealing with in this one. The dialogue was terrible. It's almost like a child wrote this movie. The kills were also very uninventive, if that's even a word. One of the girls gets killed and the creeper pulls her scalp back to reveal her brain. Yes, her brain. She doesn't have a skull. The only good bit of the movie was the end. And when I say good, I use that word loosely. There is a scene where, conveniently, their plan works, where the girl who's pregnant, she lures the creeper out to exactly where she wants him, and she stabs him in the eyes, and she says something like, "How'd you like those peepers?" or "How'd you like them peepers?" I thought that was quite funny. I chuckled at that. But then the other two guys throw one of the spears that were on top of the roof, the cross, and it goes right through the creeper's face, right through his stomach or whatever, and down into the ground. That bit was inventive, but again, it's marred by this terrible green screen. But what I find funny is, after that, and she takes his eyes out, he's getting taken away by the crows. We thought he was getting eaten by the crows because he disappears, but the crows take him away and they save him, basically. And after they save him, and the girl and the two people get saved as well, she gets into a cop car and her eyes go black, and then it cuts to the creeper, who's now mysteriously got eyes. Is that a really bad editing again, where they forgot that they killed him and took his eyes out? Or did he take her eyes mysteriously? This looked like a fan film, guys, from the green screen to the acting, the terrible dialogue, the stupid story, the makeup effects on the creeper itself. The creeper just looked terrible. Everything about this film just screamed fan film. And that's what I think it was. I don't know the full story behind how the director got the job, but there is a legal battle going on, or there was a legal battle going on, where he apparently made the movie when he shouldn't have made it, and he didn't have the rights to do it. But it seems like they went ahead with it anyway, and maybe got the rights after they made the film. But I genuinely think this was supposed to be just a fan film that gained traction and now got a theatrical release for a couple of days, and it's now getting a Blu-ray release. Maybe that wasn't the way to go for this. If this was supposed to be a fan film, then great. It was still bad, but because this is supposed to be a big movie, oh, it was absolutely awful. I'm not joking when I say this, guys, and I'm not over-exaggerating. This movie makes Jeepers Creepers 3 look like a masterpiece. So as you can clearly see, guys, I didn't like this movie one bit. I was excited to see it, but it was terrible. But if you've seen this movie, guys, leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think of it, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.